Hello and welcome to this new video. In the previous videos, we implemented the voice chat system on a dedicated server. In this video we will make some corrections and optimization of the code. There is an important part to correct in this video concerning the waiting for the player controller readiness on the game mode side. I want to explain to you later the problem and the situation that we have not dealt with. To start, go to the player controller of World 2. You may have seen in the dedicated server log an error message indicating that the OSS player is invalid. This is because we call the node getOSSPlayer unique ID in the begin play event, which runs on the client and the server. In fact, the voice chat login process must be called only from the client. What we are going to do is move the call to the login process, as well as the binding of the dispatcher event into a custom event that runs on the client. So add a custom event that runs on the client. Now select the implementation and move it to this custom event. Move the binding implementation also. Make sure to put it before the login process call. Now call this custom event from the begin play event. Same, the onPossess event runs on the client and the server, so you have to move the set input mode node so that it is on the client side. I will put it just after the UI setup. Go to the Master Player controller. Locate the call of the event which is used to join a team voice chat room. We must proceed to the call of this event only if the team returned by the server is valid. You just have to check that the length of the team members array is greater than 0 to know if the team returned by the server is valid or not. Go to World 2 Game Mode. I want to talk to you about the problem regarding our implementation of waiting for the player controller readiness on the game mode side when a player connects to the match. In fact, this implementation works very well in case there are no simultaneous connections of players to the match. An undesirable behavior can occur in case of simultaneous connections of players because we do the binding of the event dispatcher in the event on post login, so it's like a binding in a loop. What can happen is that the delegate that is triggered can change the player controller of the event before the processing of the old player controller is finished. To avoid this scenario, we will replace the solution via an event dispatcher with a solution that consists of checking the readiness status of a controller via a variable defined by the child player controller. So in the master player controller, add a variable of type Boolean, which is used to inform us of the readiness status of a controller. Make this variable replicated. Go to the player controller of World 2. I want to rename the function that is used to check the player controller readiness status to give it a meaningful name. Don't forget to copy this new name to give to the timer. Remove the event dispatcher call when the controller becomes ready. The timer here was for a test I did. I will delete it later. Once the controller is ready, update the value of the Boolean that we declared in the master player controller. In the game mode of World 2, add a variable which represents the list of controllers processed following player connections. It will therefore be an array of controllers. Move the variable to the parent class. Now remove the current implementation that handles connecting controllers once they are ready. Rename the event that handles connected player controllers. Add a function that is used to process connected player controllers. So a function that is used to check the state of connected controllers and that calls the onPlayer controller ready event once the connected player controller is ready. The implementation consists of looping through the current player controllers array to check the state of each connected controller. We must add a function in the master player controller interface which is used to return the boolean that we created. Go back to the master player controller to implement this function. Now use this function in game mode to check the readiness status of each controller. We proceed to process this controller only if this controller is ready and it is not already processed. If the condition is true, we call the custom event onPlayer controller ready. We need to change the input type to be controller instead of player controller. Note that the controller class is the parent of the player controller class. Once this event is called, we must add this controller to the list of process controllers, otherwise our code will enter a loop processing the same controller. I'm still going to do a second check to verify that it's still not in the list. It's recommended because our function will finally be called via a timer. In the begin play event, we must define a timer which is used to call the function continuously. Go to the master player controller and delete the event dispatcher since it is no longer used. Go to the player controller lobby to do the same implementation. Update the Boolean value once the controller is ready. I will rename the timer name to match the function name. Now go to Game Mode Lobby to copy the same implementation. Copy the event implementation from World 2 Game Mode. Copy the function from World 2 Game Mode. Finally, copy the timer. Normally everything is good. You may have seen errors in the dedicated server log of type unknown structure. The reason for this error is that we have modified structures that are referenced in objects, but we have not compiled these objects following the modification of the structure. For example, this error tells me that the player card structure is unknown in the master game mode interface, so I have to go to this interface and compile the blueprint. You must do this process for all objects presenting this type of error, otherwise you will have errors of this type when you package the game. Now run a test to verify our implementation. I want to start a player-hosted match. Everything works fine. I want to test a dedicated server match. Everything works fine. I want to start a dedicated match from a multiplayer lobby. And there you have it, no bugs found. That's all for this video. See you in the next one.